And we live. Welcome to the Pure Game Podcast with your host Trey Namas. Got a good episode for you, so let's get into it. Welcome to the Pure Game Podcast with your host Trey Nomics, and I'm joined by my co-host Vic. Tell everybody what's up, Vic.
Hey, what up, y'all? How y'all doing?
All right, and we got a special co-host guest. It's first time here. Introduce yourself there, Rob.
I'm Rob, the real RWP1. That's my handle on IG. It's a pleasure to be here tonight with you guys, ladies. Let's get it.
All right, ladies. Please introduce yourselves, starting by Erica.
Hey, I'm Erica Swag Gorgeous, by the way, of Detroit and Atlanta. You can find me on all social media platforms at Swag Gorgeous.
Oh, all right. Introduce yourself, Evie, Raven, and Michaela.
Hi, I'm Evie. Evie Wonder on Instagram.
Hey, I'm Raven. My Instagram is Ravy1, RAY.
Hey, I'm Michaela. My Insta is at @knizzle_.
Okay. And introduce yourself, Miss Draco.
Hey y'all, I'm Draco. My Instagram is Draco Demoness.
Draco the Menace. Oh, okay. Hey, like I said, today's topic is the truth about interracial dating. Today's dating market, so it's just the truth about it. So before we get into it, please get in the comments, please like and subscribe and share, share the video. But what I want to say is give my little spiel about interracial dating in today's society is like to me. You good over there?
Yes, my cat, my connection, everything. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Okay. Well, here's my spiel about everything. Like nowadays you hear a lot of they saying black men, they go run towards the white women or run to the other different races, and that to me that's not necessarily true. That's not true. And the statistics show that 80% of black men marry within a race, stick within a race. Now, from my experience dating around in this market of today is like women that's outside of the race, when they look towards black men, it's they look at us as something for fun instead of something for long term. So they'll have their fun with us because we have an allure as a black guy. Like we have that sex appeal because they try to make the black man a sexy thing. So they just want to experience, but they don't want to marry. But we get that stigma that us black men go and run towards the other races versus sticking with our own, which is not true. But the hard fact about that is it's more about proximity. It's not about like today's dating market is a little bit more inclusive, so it's more about inclusiveness. Like say a guy like an athlete, he's in a nice college, a predominantly white college, but he's a black man. Of course, his girlfriend is going to be a white woman because that's somebody that's around him, that's there for him because that person is there. So I don't think it's necessarily the men going for the other races or anything like that. I think it's just more of we look for a person that's going to be like our ride or die. We don't really look for, okay, I want to get a white girl or I want to get a Latino girl. And it's like, no, I want to get somebody that is cute, that looks good, but also has my back. So it don't matter what race you are. That's what it is, and that's what we look for. But now we're getting a lot of flack saying this is something that we're only looking for We're not looking for black women. We're only looking. So we, they got this whole protect black women thing now, and that's not necessarily true. I know we love black women. We love our women, but at the same time, it's about who's around and who got our back. So we look everywhere for love. So, but that's just my perspective. So I'm gonna roll it over and just see what y'all opinion about it is. Somebody
okay,
go ahead. Go ahead, jump in there.
I feel like love is love. I am a product of interracial dating, so I don't have nothing against that because I wouldn't be here. My brother is married to a lady, she's Mexican. My nephews and my niece, they're Mexican, so I don't have anything against it. I understand why people will want to date within their races, and I understand why people may want to explore outside their races. They might just, I feel like the reason why people might want to date inside their race is because maybe with the people that's inside your race, y'all can connect to each other a little bit. Well, y'all can connect to each other better because y'all understand each other's struggles and what y'all have to overcome with society. As far as dating outside your race, I just feel like depending on how you was raised, where you grew up at, how you travel, the things that you're exposed to, the caliber of people that you surround yourself around, you may want to explore that, and I see nothing wrong with that. I will date. I don't discriminate. There's probably two races that I probably would not date, and that's my own preference, and that's probably the Indians, from India, and like the African man. And the reason why I say that is because they are very dominant, and they feel like they woman's supposed to kind of be underneath them. My mouth is too split. It's just not gonna work. And out of respect for them, and out of respect for myself, I just probably want to explore that.
So you believe that the race as a whole, that's how they think, like the Africans,
not
their whole culture,
Typically, let me say that because that can come off as an ignorant statement. Typically, that's how it's perceived as, if culture-wise, not really perceived as, but like culture-wise, that's how their men are raised to be the lead and to be dominant, and for their wives to kind of to really stand behind them and to do as they say, kind of thing. So it's just the way that their culture is, just what I perceived of their culture. So typically that's how it is. But it's a lot of people who don't go with tradition of how their culture is. So that can change. And so if I meet somebody that I feel like we can connect and they understand me and I understand them, I don't mind doing that. Like, for example, I'm a Christian. Me dating somebody that's Muslim may not work for me because of the customs that they go, with.
Okay.
Just out of respect on that level. So I don't look at it like I'm definitely not touching you because you're this race, but I just look at your traditions, how your culture is set up, and how I'm set up, and how that may not work.
Okay. So, like, you being the product of a mixed family, so like, how does that work out during like family functions, like cookouts? Like, does the white side commingle with the black side, or does the black side
everybody mingles with everybody? We're people at the end of the day. We're number one. First, we're people, and then if you want to step into race and gender and all that stuff falls behind. But number one, we're all people. So there is no difference in how we interact with each other.
Oh, okay. Evie, what's your perspective on this conversation?
I do agree with what she was saying. Love is love. Like, at the end of the day, like, you're gonna love who you love. You don't get to really go out and be like, I don't want to love somebody. Like, that just happens. And a lot of people, I wouldn't say a lot of people, but like, I feel like most people like would say, like, this is how I view it. Because, okay, I personally, I like all men. I like all women. But there is a part of me that like is nervous to date inside of my own race, for the simple fact that I'm nervous to end up with somebody that is racist, and like it just would come out. Like, I'm nervous to, like, if I fall in love with a white man and then later on I find out he's racist. Like, I feel like that's something that I'm scared of, like, personally, like, because I have a black daughter, and I just, like, at the end of the day, it's not even about like what she was saying with culture. Like, you have to respect someone's culture, and you also have to appreciate their culture, but you also have to protect their culture. And if you're not doing that, then you're not doing the right thing with being that with that person. Because if you're gonna intertwine with someone that's different from you, like, you're really gonna have to step back and put yourself in their shoes. And like the same thing with them, like, y'all are gonna have to try to understand each other and like the differences between you guys, and then like to work on like, not like to say like you guys gotta change. You don't have to change, but just to understand like the differences between us and like how to make it work between us, how we like come together. Because I think a lot of it has to do with what she said, where you come from, who you grew up around, and it does have a lot to do with that. But at the same time, like, I've dated men, and like the first thing I ask when I date men, especially if like it's a man of color, I'll be like, do you like, what is your type? And if they say they don't like black women, off rip, I'm unattracted to them, because I'd be like, how are you not attracted to black women and you're black? That weirds me out, because I'm like, you're weird. And like most of those guys that say that end up with racist baby mamas that are white, and then they're like, sucks. And like, it's crazy to me, like, that the men that I've heard say they don't like black women, they end up with white women who are racist. Their families are racist, and I'm like,
so like, when you saying the woman that he ends up with is racist and the whole family is racist?
Not in like the whole like scenario, but like with everyone. But like, I'm saying, like, I knew someone personally that said they didn't like black women, and he ended up having a white baby mama, and she was like racist, would call the police on him, and her family doesn't like black people, and he wonders why his relationship is the way that it is. And I'm like, you're weird, because at the end of the day, you're off rip saying you don't like black women. You wouldn't even give a black woman a shot when your mother's black. Like, that weirded me out. Like, that just made me feel weird about him. Like, if any man, like, point blank period, because I'm all about like women empowerment as it is. But if any man says like they don't like a certain woman for this or that, I look at him weird, because all women are different. You can find white women and black women or any race that where women fit into a certain category. They could be crazy and all that shit, but at the end of the day, that's anybody can be like that. But but to find somebody, like, I just think it's weird when men say that, and then they end up with the most racist white girls, and I'm just like, I mean, I don't know what you expected. Like, you were being weird from the jump.
That's crazy to me. So like, that sound like, one of them pitfalls. I don't, that you might go through being in a interracial relationship. Like, you got to deal with the family. The family might be racist, and then you have to deal with that, especially as being a black man. Like, as a black man, a lot of people always look down on us. We kind of like the lowest of the low when they look at us. So I always feel kind of standoffish when it comes to dating a woman outside of my race. Is because I know that I'm a black man, and I know, I'm not just a black man. I am a black man. I'm not a black man that's preppy. I'm a black man that's from the turf. So anywhere I go, I know when you see me, it's like that's a whole. So those type of things kind of make me uncomfortable. So that's what kind of keeps me away when it comes to dating interracially.
I just feel like what you were talking about when you said that you don't date outside of your race because like you know who you are, like you know you're a black man, and you like some black men, they are not familiar with that idea. So like where we both grew up at, like the black guys, like us growing up, and we live in a small town, and like the demographic is mostly like white women, would you say? Like, yeah. Okay, so like we like, for example, like in middle school and high school, like guys will always tell us like they would never date us, like you know
like that's so common.
They'll be like you're crazy or like or whatever. So like it would just be like, but and at first it would make me feel like dang, like no one's ever gonna like me. I'm a black girl, But then I got older and I realized like a lot of them hate themselves. And, like not only do they end up hurting themselves in these situations, like Evie was saying, like where these black guys they end up with a white girl that they're using for self-validation, and they'll date this woman and then they'll get her pregnant. But this girl's using this boy for validation because, you know, she got beef with her parents or something. She knows her parents are going to get mad if she dates so she's rebelling by dating a black guy. So, you know what I'm saying? So then they end up having a kid, and then the parents are like racist towards the kid, they're racist towards the son, like, you know, just different situations. And we've seen that firsthand. We've also seen like, you know, that guy that was working for the school, and he ended up sleeping with one of the girls in high school, like, you know, but she was throwing herself at this black man, and he was young, he was just like an intern there, but he ended up being on the sex offenders list because they, you know what I'm saying, they took him to court and they did all that stuff. But, you know, he was just using her because he wanted to smash on him a little something, and she's just using him because he's a cute black guy. And then now his life is literally ruined because of his insecurity. So, I mean, like, that's good that you understand who you are and, like, you're familiar with yourself, so you're not going to try to date outside your race for, you know, that type of reason. However, like, some people really do it to, like, either, like, rebel or, like, some type of validation.
Some kind of, like, to get back or a point.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you the hard truth for all the black men out there that say they don't date black women. The other races don't want you, bro. Like, they don't want you like that. They only want you to have sex with you, just to have fun with you, and then throw you back away. We are what, like you said, we are what they use to rebel against their parents. Oh, I'm gonna go suck a black guy's dick or whatever. I'm finna go fuck this black man. But we're just something that they use as a temporary thing while they're young because they want to rebel. But once they grow up and want to actually start families, they go back to their own race. So the guys that say they don't, you know, they only don't date black women or anything, they're kind of delusional when it comes to that. They don't really want us like that. So,
I mean, I wouldn't say, I don't know, because I feel like it's different. Because obviously, I obviously am a white woman, but I wouldn't say that I'm going to end up with a white man. I don't know who I'm going to end up with. Whoever treats me the best is probably who I'm going to end up with, and whoever loves me and my daughter, like, really loves us and accepts both of us, that's who I'll be with. But I'm not going to say he's going to be white, and I won't say he's going to be black. I don't know, because I don't have no prospects as of right now. But I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't say I'm going to end up with a white man because I don't know that. Like I said, I'm nervous to even date white men for that reason. Like, for that specific reason, I'm scared that I'm going to fall in love with a white man, and then years down the road, I find out he's racist. And see, the way I was raised, my values and the way I look at life, I was raised to love everyone. And I don't look at that kind of ordeal like, this is what we are, this is what you are. Like, I know that obviously you're supposed to look at it like we're different, but we're not different. Like, so it's just, I was raised different, so I look at things differently. And I know not every white woman is like that, and I know that. But it's just like I date women too, and like I dated a white girl once, and she said the N-word, and when she said the N-word, I told her how it bothered me, and I was like, please don't say that around me, because like that offends me. And she was like, but you're white. And I'm like, I understand that I'm white, but I don't fuck with that, like, at all. I'm not putting up with that. Like, if you're going to continue to say that, like, we can't be together. And she told me that she wasn't going to stop saying it, that her black friend said that she could say it, and I just had to end things with her right there, because I was going to end up having to beat her up if I stayed with her. I just couldn't do it. So I ended up there with her. But that's why I'm like, it's not that I wouldn't date a white person. It would have to be a white person like me if I did date a white person. But not every white person's the same. It's hard to find, like, I feel like cool ass white people.
Yeah, like, what do you think about, since, you know, I remember earlier you saying that you have a daughter, right, of a black. So do you think that things have changed and you make it a little bit more personal since the fact you are the mother of a black, potentially black woman, a young black girl?
Yes, in the sense that, like, so I look at life differently than, like, obviously a white woman with white kids would look at, because my daughter's life, I feel like in our society and the way things are set up around us, the system is really fucked up, especially towards black women and black men. But like in medical stances, like I feel like a lot of black women, their issues aren't taken serious and they end up dying. And like that scares me, because my daughter is black. And then also like with school, like all the racial shootings that have been going on, like I put myself in the position, like, if someone ever said anything to my daughter, like off rip, I'm gonna have to like, that's my baby, like that's my baby, so I'm gonna have to protect her and like teach her like, this is what you're gonna have to do, like this is what you're gonna have to say. Like it's really sad to me that like it even has to be like that, but the way that the world is fucked up like that, I have to already think about like, hey, this is what I'm gonna have to teach my daughter. I'm gonna have to teach her like she's a black woman and people are gonna say things, but no matter what, she's beautiful, no matter like the way she is, her like everything about her, like, and it makes me really sad that I have to think like that. But my best friend, she has a daughter and she's black, and she came to me one day and she's 7 years old, and like she was like, I wish I looked like you. And I looked at her and I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, I wish I had like lighter skin. And I'm like, what would make you say something like that to me? And then she was like, I just really think your skin's pretty. And I was like, well, what's up with that? So I asked her mom about it, and her mom said that the girls at school were bullying her over her skin. And like, that bothered me because I felt like my daughter, my friend's daughter didn't feel beautiful in the skin that she was in. And like, I'm raising a black daughter, and like, I don't even want her to go to a predominantly white school because of reasons like that. Like, I don't want her to feel like her hair's not pretty or her skin's not pretty or she's not pretty for a black girl. I don't like that shit because like, that's the kind of shit I'm gonna have to deal with if I stay here.
Yeah.
If I stay where I'm at right now, that's the stuff I'm gonna have to deal with, and it's really sad, and I don't want to deal with that. So like in my head, I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta move somewhere else where my daughter's gonna feel like she fits in. And that's sad, like that I even have to think like this kind of stuff. But like 10 toes, I'm gonna protect my kid. Like I'm gonna do what's right. I'm gonna tell her how to deal with police officers and all that shit, because like I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, you gotta stay 10 toes down. You gotta stay 10 toes down. Now, Rob, what do you think about the current state in interracial rate? I'm getting tongue tied now. Interracial dating in 2022. What is your opinion about this?
Everybody makes some really good points. First of all, you know what's ironic about this whole conversation? Tomorrow. No, I'm sorry. Just last month, just marked the 55th anniversary of interracial relationships being legalized in this country.
Wow.
And yeah, just this past month. Secondly, I've been with a mixed woman for 18 years. Her dad is white, her mom is black. And I've had my experience dating white women, had my experience. I dabbed into dating Asian women, but nothing like a black woman. But being with my wife for 18 years and seeing both personalities show up at different times, it's funny, it's interesting. But nevertheless, right now in 2022, it's sad that we'll still yet have this conversation, because at one time, you know, you think about Jim Crow back in the day. This was one of the reasons why Jim Crow was established, to keep black men from white women and white women from black men. Now, everybody has their preference for whatever they choose to do, but you know, I have no quarrel with people. I remember, man, I'm gonna give you a quick story. I remember, man, when I met all of her white side of the family, and they in Ohio, middle America, you know, and the middle of nowhere. And they had this town event out in Marietta, Ohio, probably one of the whitest cities I ever seen in my life. Damn near felt like Mayberry, because I didn't see one police. When I was walking down the street, white people was approaching me. They crossed the street. This was a couple of years ago, actually. Well, not a couple of years, but some time back. And I found it ironic, and everybody was open carry. So, you know, I can count on one hand how many cops I've seen on the street. because this is basically one of those real white towns, yet having interracial relationships going, coming and going. And so it was mind-boggling to see all of this going on in the 21st century, yet trying to wrap my mind around the fact that people still had this stigma in their heads, this idea that with everything else that's going on with the like Eva said, with the murders, the shootings, just random shootings, and it's the craziness of it. So I say all that to say, man, that being with my wife and seeing her side of the family has taught me a lot about patience, understanding. Everybody's not racist. You see what I'm saying? And thankfully, we didn't grow up in an era of the 50s, the 60s, hell, even the 70s and the 80s. You know what I mean? I mean, I can remember back in the 90s, where I had a real brush with the Red Dogs in Atlanta. You know, I stay in Atlanta. And real police brutality. That was the only time that I experienced it. So with that, just here recently, you know, of interacting with a white lady. She's married to a black man, and she's always been attracted to black men.
Right.
3 kids from black men. And as a result of that, it could have been, as one of the young ladies said, it could have been out of rebellion, starting out, or whatever. But nevertheless, that has always been her affinity to be attracted to white men. I mean, black dudes. So as a result of that, and that's been her mindset. And if you see her, she would almost go for black, but she's white from the West Coast. So, you know, it's amazing to me, man, and it's intriguing to see yet this polarization of interracial relationships, because you see it in commercials now. They pumping it strong in commercials now. You know what I mean? You can't deny that fact. You see it everywhere. And so as a result of that, it's still, even when we go out in 2022, it's this uncomfortable feeling that we all unconsciously or consciously have when we see two interracial couples. So, you know, that's my take, man. But like I said, being with my wife for almost 20 years taught me a lot, you know, about this whole topic. And yet we still learning, we still developing, man. So I really, like I said, not against it and not opposed, you know, or for it. It's just like the young lady said, you know, if you love somebody, who's to tell you that you shouldn't? What law? The law has been passed. You see what I'm saying? Now you got to deal with the judgment of public opinion wherever you decide to go. You know what I mean? If you go to North Georgia, up in Forsyth County, or to the North Mountains or whatever, then you know what I mean, you travel at your own risk, you know.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like people have to make their own decision, draw their own conclusion, which way of the pendulum that they want to swing on. So that's my take, man.
Yeah.
What's your take, Vic?
You know, I don't see nothing wrong with racial relationships. You know, just like you guys were saying, whoever you love, that's who you love. You know, I just don't get it. You know, when we hear a lot of black women say, "Oh, you know, that y'all don't like black women," or you know, try to get on the black man for making that choice, and then it's like you guys are speaking. It's like the black women that does that is speaking from, you know, insecurities that they have within themselves, you know, and try to put the man down. But what are you doing with yourself that make you feel like, you know, that a man will choose that race over your race? I mean, you know, you got to look at it that way. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with it. Shoot, you know, beautiful babies do come from, you know, both sides, you know. So it ain't,
Yeah.
you know, one or the other that's more dominant or anything like that. It's just, you know, people need to get out of the fact of looking at color. Really, you know, we all are people. We all are humans. You know, love rule everything. So as long as you know, go by that, you should be all right. You know, it's sad that we do have to deal with it. You know, there's still some sort of racism here. You know,
Mm-hmm.
in 2022, we still deal with it, like you guys were saying, from police brutality and you know that unsaid, you know, stuff. Especially when you walking down the street. You know, I experienced that too. You know, they quick to cross the street or clench their purse or move all the way out to the street and walk in the street. Like it's enough room for right here for 10 of us, and you still got to move out to the street. But it happens, you know. But with that, when I see stuff like that, it's just let me know that this person wasn't raised around, you know, our type of you know, people. They wasn't raised around black people. So yeah, they may be uncomfortable, you know. And that don't mean that they racist at all, you know. And we don't know what they was taught from their parents, you know, or grandparents.
And the same thing with our people too, because we face a lot of prejudice with each other. Where how you
exactly.
with the black woman being mad at a black man because he's dating a white woman, or
Exactly.
being mad about a woman dating a white man. And I agree that I feel like it's the insecurity within yourself, because just because that person is dating somebody, even if they decided to date black women, who was to say that they was gonna date you?
Exactly.
Exactly. Right.
So I feel like if you're secure within yourself, then you're gonna try who's supposed to be for you, regardless of whatever that is. But one thing I did want to touch on, I do feel like when you do date outside of your race and if you decide to bring children into that, it is important to know both aspects of it on both ends, and also understand what your child is going to go through, because your child is going to experience something that neither one of you experience.
Exactly.
And like even how Evie was saying, like where she's at, where she has to worry about her child with the white kids, she gonna have to worry about that with the black kids too. And it's gonna be a whole different scale.
Right.
So I feel like that's something that people who are entering that type of relationship, they have to be aware of exactly what they're entering. It's not just about you, what you want, and what the other person want. If you're gonna bring a child within that, you have to understand those struggles completely, because it's not a one-sided situation.
And you gotta let that child experience both sides.
Yeah.
You know, so they know the, you know, both sides, and they can distinguish, you know, characteristics within themselves, and you know how they become to be themselves. So it's very important for, you know, both sides of the family to be involved in that kid's life, because if not, they're going to be searching and might cause some trauma to them later on down the road.
Like my sister, she's biracial, and she always said that she felt like she was too black for the white people in her family and too white for the black people, if I said that right. Black for the black people and too black for the white people. Yeah. Right. Like she'd always say that to me, and I'd be like, damn, that sucks that you feel like that. But like, I feel like that's how most mixed people feel.
Yeah. And then I heard somebody you was mentioning earlier that, you know, a guy that you know said they only date white women. You know, I heard that before, but I think it's more some childhood trauma that they, you know, have experienced, which why they, you know, choose to say that and, you know, and go that route.
Or what they've been exposed to too, because
that too.
If you're a black person like me, I lived in a hood. I was raised and born in the hood, but I also moved to the suburbs. My mama got us out the hood and moved to the suburbs, so I got to experience the best of both. And so I understand what you were saying, Evie, when your friend said you too white for the black people and too black for the white people. Like even with you being from the hood to the suburbs, you gonna feel that too, because now you're exposed to something different. But as far as somebody dating outside of their race, like a guy saying that he only dates white women, it might be trauma, it might be his preference, or it might be the caliber of people that he's been exposed to. Because if he's not exposed to a lot of black people, then his preference is going to be what he is naturally seeing all the time. Or if he is exposed to black people and they portray themselves to act a certain way, and that doesn't attract them, they're gonna be attracted to something different. And that's with anything, whether that's from dark skin or light skin, purple to yellow to purple. If you are exposed to, like, for like people who may be racist, maybe it's something that they went through and that they seen that made them be like, that's not what I want to deal with. And that's not saying that that's how all that set of people are like, but because they were exposed to that type of behavior from that set of people, then that's their outlook, generally. Like if I'm a woman and say I was raped by a man, then I might look at all men a certain type of way because that's what I was exposed to. So then I might look at, I just want to be with women. So it might be just what you're exposed to, and it's not even that you're trying to be racist or that you were raised up that way. It might just be something that happens to you that makes you feel like you're scared. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's things that sits behind a reaction or why people react the way. It's always a reason why somebody is acting that way. And I feel like it is important it's okay to be interested or even important to talk about why they feel that way. And it's a reason behind all of that. And it's not just something just to dust off and to feel like, oh, you don't like them sad people. Oh, okay, whatever. Well, I don't like you. No, understand why they feel that way. And maybe talking to them can change their mind on why they felt that way. Or you can give an example of what you went through. And you got, like, I understand why you feel like that. But, everybody not like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, for people that's like, I'm only dating, like for the guys that say I only want white women or any other race besides black women, there's got to be some type of trauma there that caused them to think that way. And when I think about interracial dating, it's love is love, so everybody has their preference when it comes to that. Like I know Evie, she's used to just dating, she's attracted to the black men.
No, hold on. Not just black men. I do like white men. It has to be like a certain kind of white man.
Oh, okay.
It has to be a certain type, and then also like I like women too. Like I like women. I like everybody for real. It just like they can't be weird. Like you gotta.
So you fluid out here. That's fire.
I like it.
That's fire. You like it all.
Yeah, but they just gotta be cool. Like it can't be like kind of like what she said earlier. Like values and morals. Kind of what I go for. Like we gotta have the same values, morals, like outlooks on life. Like, but skin color and that don't matter to me. We gotta look at the world the same way. Like, yeah.
Yep.
But also, like, I tried to date a man that was Muslim and I'm Christian, and that did not work. So, like what you said earlier, that's true. Like, I tried it and it didn't work. And I did try it. I tried it.
Yeah, I would think that would be kind of difficult, just kind of a blend of that type of culture, like a different religion altogether. So, you because you have your ways when it comes to your spirituality, and he has his. So I can understand that.
We're still friends. We just thought it was better. Like, we just couldn't. We couldn't be together. Like our values and the way we looked at religion was different. So it was just like it wouldn't work. But I do agree with you on that. That was 100%.
And it also depends on how you was raised too. Like a lot of black women, a lot of black people, they end up growing up in one family households where they don't have a father in the household, so their mother has to be strong. So the girls grow up thinking that that's how they supposed to be, and that they have to step into both roles. And the man may grow up to be perceive something else differently too, because they didn't have a father around, or maybe they didn't have their mother around, or something else culture wise stepped into that whole experience. Where with somebody from outside another race, they might have grew up with two parents in their household. They may have been raised to, the woman and the man role. They may have been exposed to something differently. So for a black man to like a white woman sometimes may culturally make sense to them, because maybe the black women that they are around, they were raised, like I was saying, where they have to be strong and they got to be dominant. They're very alpha male when they need to be, more softer and a woman, but they were not taught those characteristics because we're in survival mode. Where a white woman or a woman outside of the race may have been taught something to cater to her man and to be soft and understand her man. Not saying that that's how people are on both sides, because it could be, flip flop. But I can't even say it right.
Yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say. But most of the time, that's how it may be. Where we were raised to be in survival mode. The other races were not raised to be that way because they didn't have to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I agree with you. Like, I think that what plays a part of it, and some people that have their biases when they come to dating with somebody outside of their race, is that they are to believe that these group of people are raised to be this way, and these group of people are raised this way. So they be like, hey, look, I don't want to date within my own race because I don't like the way we was raised. So I'm gonna go look at the other ones. But to really, when it comes down to it, it's about, when it comes to finding the right relationship, it's about the person's characters, because if you got a good character, then you will mend well with the person that you're with. It's not about how you were raised per se, what your traditions is. It's just about what's in your heart and what's your character. So I do agree with you, but
that's true. But how you was raised can also develop trauma.
I also feel like that plays a huge part, like the way you were raised, because I feel like I've actually been more compatible with people who grew up in a similar situation than like with me. Like I feel like because we can relate. I feel like it's harder for me to be with someone who doesn't come from like a struggle standpoint almost, because like I feel like if I dated this one boy who everything was handed to him, and like that didn't happen for me. So me and him kind of like didn't look at things the same way because he got everything he wanted. He could get it from his mom or his dad, and then there was me. I didn't have anybody to give me anything, so I feel like that also matters to like how you grew up, because both my relationships like that I've had, the first one was where he was given everything, and then the second one was like me and him were more similar, and I feel like me and him had like a better connection almost because he understood like where I came from, and he came from somewhere similar, so it was like we understood each other's struggle. So it was different. It was harder for me to be with the one guy who came from a different social class almost.
Okay. So is there any like pitfalls when it comes to dating interracially? I know you got kids, but besides raising the kids, is there any type of like pitfalls when it comes to dating somebody outside of your race?
I feel like family honestly plays a huge role in that, because personally me, my family is not racist, so my family is really cool. But like family, like extended family, like family on the outskirts, I've definitely had people say racist things, and like I don't really consider them family to me. Like whenever the Black Lives Matter movement was going on, I was doing the protests, and a bunch of fights broke out between me and my family because they didn't agree with what like extended family. So I cut them all off, and like they aren't around me. But like that played a huge part in my relationships because I don't put up with disrespect, and I'm not gonna let nobody, family or not, disrespect the person that I'm with, especially like anything racial. That's over with. Like that's not happening. You're getting checked. I wouldn't say I'm ratchet, but I will hit somebody in my family if I have to. And
you don't say you ratchet, but you choose violence.
Yeah.
Oh no, you choose violence anyway. You got a little ratchet in you there, Evie. Got a little ratchet in you. So Rob, what do you think about this whole situation? Like when it comes to 2022, everybody is thinking, hey, we all evolved, and like you'll see on Fox News or something, and they'll say, oh, racism doesn't exist anymore, or let America heal, or all of that stuff. But then next to we out there rioting because somebody else done got killed by a police officer. And so we looking at it like, okay, is racism still here, or is it non-existent and something that's in our head? like for me, I know it's still here. So that's one of those things that kind of make me hesitate.
I mean, one thing I just would like to say though, I mean, when we talking about police and the police brutality, it's not always a white police officer that's always killing a black police officer. And we do have black police officers killing black people too, you know, and vice versa. There is white police officers killing white people too. So we can't just equate police as all of them being racist, you know, and that you know, we can ride for police brutality, but don't try to put race into that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. That guy says dating interracial dating is the new normal. Which, you know, I agree. Dating, you know, interracial dating has, you know, taken a boom now, you know, and it is a new normal when it comes to us melting cultures. But like what Erica says is we have to understand that is another culture. It's not just another person. That's another culture that you're dealing with as well.
Everything.
The whole experience.
I don't really like that though, because that kind of sounds like a trend. Like they're making it a trend, and it's not about a trend. It's about like, I feel like if two different people are going to be together, like that's obviously because they love each other. Like I feel like there are certain people that fetish other people, and I feel like it's weird. But like I feel like society has obviously seen like the profits they've made off of interracial dating, so like they do that for that reason. But I don't like the form that they're trying to make it a trend or like make it cool, because I feel like if you're with anybody point blank period, it's because you love them, not because it's cool. Like,
but yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I started to think like it's just a trend, like it's trendy, just like I was saying before. Like, man, they just some of them want to just date just to get that experience because it's trendy right now. But what happens when the trend is over? I don't like it when people are dating other people because of a trend.
Well, let me say that I believe we're past the trend, because the way the cycle of it being promoted in media, I think we're past that. It just now through media, it's a conditioning whereby the human psyche sees it as tech guy said, the new normal. You see what I'm saying? Whereby it doesn't hold that same stigma as if they was back in 67. You see what I'm saying? So it's it doesn't pack that sting. It doesn't pack that sting as if we was back in 82. So therefore, with saying all of that, it's like now people, you gotta think about it. This is the third generation of, let's say, the KKK, real racist white people. This is the third generation. We're talking about their third generation, their grandchildren, their great grandchildren.
Yeah,
they see the world differently.
Yeah,
than their grandparents did. And so, based upon, let's say, they were programmed to stick with their own race, and they was like, but I don't see black people like that. How you grew up seeing them, I don't see them as inferior to me. I see them as equal to me. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes out of rebellion, they say, I'm going to live my own experience. I love you, I respect your perspective, but this is my life. I'm not living for you. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that you have to take in consideration when it comes to this subject, because you know, when it really boils down to it, is this individual and that individual making an agreement to be in a relationship together, and they know consciously or unconsciously it's going to rub feathers the wrong way, period. They just come with the territory. So therefore, with that being said, is that either we're going to sign up for the mission because we love each other, we respect each other, and we want to be together. Let's ride.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you know, back then too, not only was it dealing with, you know, racism, it's just more so financial wise and just and things like that too, that played a big part in why a lot of people stuck with their race. I mean, I know you guys can name some races that still to this day stick with their own race, and look where they are. Look where they are as far as socially. So
yeah. Truth Hurt says race and racism is a social construct. I mean, actually, Truth Hurt actually is absolutely right about race and racism being a social construct, but that's something that we didn't construct. It's something that we got to live with, So like what Rob is saying, that the grandchildren is not thinking the same way as the grandparents. But the problem with that is the grandchildren are not at a position of power yet. The grandparents are still in a position of power. So the problem when it comes to race and racism is that old system has to kind of die out in order for us to really reap the benefits of what we actually think about today when it comes to being inclusive as a human species, because now it's it is the new normal. The interracial dating is a new normal. People kind of really don't look at it with a side eye like they used to have like 10 years ago. Even something as short as 10 years ago, people still used to look at it with a side eye like, oh, you brought, it was kind of taboo. It wasn't too taboo, but it was kind of taboo. Nowadays, 2022 is not as taboo as it was.
No.
So, but for it to be in a social construct, yes, it is a social construct, but it's a social construct that has to kind of die out though. So, but also Ms. Bolden says, love is love. You should just find a soulmate. That's true. And that's what the whole purpose of all of this conversation is basically I want people to, that's listening to this to open their horizon when it comes to dating, maybe looking outside of your race or anything like that. But what I don't like is I don't like it when there's people that say, I only date this type of people because I just don't like my own race, or when there might be, I can only speak for the blacks because I'm a black man, but when I hear black women saying that these black men, when they get money, all they do is go run to a white woman, and it's like, that's not true. We run to who rides and dies for us. Like that race narrative got to stop when it comes to dating.
Right.
But it's still here, and we can try to kumbaya and act like it's not. But we all got smartphones, we all got social media. We still be seeing people having that side eye, posting that stuff, saying they still having that media propaganda. So until that ends, this conversation is going to keep coming up.
But you know what? From my perspective, it will never end.
Exactly.
Because it goes back to your point. You have powers that be. You have economic structure. You have a political structure. You have a legal structure. You see, that reinforces this narrative. You see what I'm saying? To fight against the, let's say, natural attraction. One thing that we have no control over is who you're attracted to. None of us do. You see what I'm saying? So as a result of that, yes, they're going to continue to try to propagate and come up with ways to try to undermine people's way of thinking. Because there again, it goes back. Okay, let's just say, for example, to your point, Trail. Yeah, they don't have, the third generation don't have the economic structure. They don't care about it. I love who I want to love.
Right.
That's really, I don't care about being broke. Let's use for example that wedding with the prince over there in London.
Yeah.
You see how they fought. His family fought against that.
Yeah.
In his head, he say, I love this woman. I want to be with this woman. If you can't accept her, F y'all. I'm going to have my life with this woman. Regardless if you accept her or not. She's my wife. You see what I'm saying? And he bounced. They don't like it. You see what I'm saying? But but he made his decision. And see, that goes to show that there's a shift that has taken place in the way of thinking, because he is practically he's a third generation mindset right now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And he got bread. Don't get it twisted. But the reality is that people's minds are opening up and saying, I'm not going to live inside this bubble because it makes you feel uncomfortable.
Right.
Well, see, we live in Tennessee, and in Tennessee, like you said.
What part?
Huh?
What part?
Oh, East Tennessee, like Alcoa. It's a small town next to Knoxville.
Okay.
I know you at. I was born in Knoxville.
Okay, so you know kind of like a demographic around it. So
all my families and my mama's side of the family's at Alcoa.
Okay,
so I'm very familiar with it.
We're like 15 minutes from Alcoa. We're next to the airport.
Like Maryville.
Yeah. But like not Maryville.
I got you.
I did grow up in Maryville, so like.
And Maryville's different from Alcoa.
Yeah,
so like,
but let her.
Right. I know. My daddy used to stay out there.
Yeah, she grew up with only white guys.
But how was that for you? That is kind of tough because you gotta find yourself like later on. Just like you were saying, the girl that was like, I like your skin, like blah blah. I was like that. Like I grew up like around all white people, so I not knowing, like, you know, you don't know that you're like, you want to not want to be white, because I didn't want to be white, but like I found myself wanting to fit in with all the white people and wanting to be look like them, dress like them. And then I would hear like the black guys that I knew, they would be like I don't like black girls, like I would never, which now they're like they want a black girl so bad, but like we've listened to them talk trash and degrade us all, so it kind of like turns you off in a way, which I don't discriminate. I just like who I like, but I definitely feel like where you come from and how I grew up, it definitely makes a difference. But you also have to watch out for the white guys too, because just like you were saying, there's people that fetishize black people. I went through that, and like you don't realize it until later. Like I was messing with this guy for like a while, and I wasn't really comfortable with his friends, but like I was comfortable with him, so like it was fine. But then like later, I didn't know he had like a Confederate flag in his room and all that type stuff, which I would have never known that. So you were in danger.
Essentially in danger and didn't know.
You didn't put yourself in danger for some dick. Ain't that something?
But she didn't know. Like,
but she didn't know until she got there.
Right.
Yeah, like I didn't. Like you don't know until later. Like you see, they show you a whole different side of them than they do with their friends. Like I'm sure, like for me, I know that they just wanted like the experience or whatever, and I don't know what they said to their friends, but to me, they were like genuine to me, and we were together. Like it was something completely different than I'm sure the side that they were showing their friends. So you just have to like watch out for that and really know somebody and like really think that their intentions are pure to be with them for you guys to work, or it's not going to, and they can, like she said, like hiddenly be racist and just be doing it for the experience.
Or some people might like, because I went to school in the suburbs and I have had white friends who were genuinely with, you know, like me, and we hung out and everything, but when it came down to like family functions, I couldn't do that with them. And it's not because I don't feel like they didn't want me to. I think because of how their family perceived them, how they were raised on that side, that they didn't feel comfortable with bringing me over there. But our relationship was a genuine relationship. So I think that people fight with that as well. And same thing with us as black people. Sometimes we might have some white friends, but we might be like, shoot, I don't know, Sally, if I can bring you over here to my auntie house.
Say some crazy stuff.
They don't behave. They might be ignorant, but you my home girl.
What I do find cool about the interracial relationships is that like for somebody like Evie, or like her boyfriend's white too, but like okay, for somebody like, and her boyfriend is her brother.
We're just cool. We're just like some cool ass white people.
But not only that, I feel like it's hard for y'all to find someone that y'all relate to. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's hard.
In your race, it may be harder to find like a white man who done been through stuff, who done had to really hustle, grind, like literally from nothing. You may not find a white man like that, but like you find a black man like that, you can go over his house and his family's like your family. Like your family's wild and cool and stuff, and then his family's chill, and then like that's the same with her and her dude.
Because the white boys in like our area, like it's weird because I feel like the white boys don't like me that much because black men like me as well. Like, and I'm also a dancer, so I worked in a club that was like local to our area, and all my clientele was either Hispanic or black men. No white men tipped me ever. Like never went in. If it was a white man, it was like somebody who was a cool white dude, or it was never just like the white men didn't like me. I was like a turn off to them.
So did your mother or father date interracial, have interracial relationship?
My mom dated a lot of different men, but my father is Hispanic. I met him when I got older, so I didn't grow up with him. I met him when I was 15. But the man who raised me was white, and he's my brother and sister's dad.
Okay.
But my mom remarried a man, and then he had biracial children. So I grew up with 2 biracial children, and then one black, and then 2 white, and then they had a kid of their own. So like my family like was like the rainbow family growing up. That's what people would call us, because like we were just all different. And so even like growing up from like off the topic of interracial relationships, but like also like interrelationships within families, like there was times where people would be judgmental to my family. And like I remember I was 8 years old and I was at the park with my sisters, and a little girl called my sister the N-word, and I heard it from the swing.
What?
So I jumped off the swing and ran over there, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like telling me, I said, did you just call her that? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, I'm about to beat your ass. And she's like, why? And I'm like, we're sisters, can't you tell? And then she's looking at me confused, and I beat her up, and I told her like to go home and tell her family like what happened, because she was young too. Like we were all like 8 or 7. But I beat her up. But like I had to set the record straight, like not my family.
And that's another thing. If you're gonna date outside of your race, like my boyfriend's white too. So if I don't know, like sometimes his dad will say little slick stuff, and like sometimes like some of his friends and stuff like that. So I feel like if you're gonna date outside of your race, you need to make sure that you're ready to defend
them and protect them. And
you don't need to just be trying to like date them and like reap off the benefit. Like you need to like be ready to defend your partner and learn something new about their culture. Like don't just be around like, you know what I'm saying, just reaping the benefit of dating this person. Black girls got a bigger butt or something. If you're a white girl, you with a black guy, they say they have bigger, penises and stuff like that. Don't just reap the benefits, learn about them, pull up to the cookout, you know what I'm saying? Like learn how to, come to church with them, learn different things about each other, be open, and just be willing to actually be diverse, like, and learn.
But that goes back into like, I feel like a lot of people want to take from Black culture and not actually like respect it and appreciate it. And like that's the real problem with that. Like that's a problem in itself.
I mean, even her friends, like, I don't know, I feel like in high school, some of your white friends, they were just around you to look cooler. Like,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
That's what it is right now. It's like, it's cool to be black or hang around black. Like black is trendy.
Until it's time to be black.
Until it's time to be black.
That's what I'm saying. If you're going to be around us, you exactly. Support us. Like Evie, she may not be full black, but she going to come to a Black Lives Matter march.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
She going to support us if she hears someone saying something. She's not going to sit there and take that. So I just feel like I support interracial relationships. You just need to be willing to get educated. If you're gonna have African American, / Caucasian kids, mixed kids or whatever, biracial children, you need to educate yourself on how to do their hair. You need to educate them on like their dangers in life. You need to educate them on how to be black or white, so they don't grow up having an identity crisis. If you're raising a mixed child and they grow up in the white home, they may be out of touch with their black side. I've seen it firsthand. They'll get older and they'll like sexualize themselves or like demonize themselves to feel black, to feel culture, like they have to do the wrong things. So you want to make sure you educate your child and instill who they are within them from the jump. Educate them from the jump. Your hair is different because that's your texture of hair. Like, you can't straighten your hair every single day. You know what I'm saying? You get braids or something. Don't try to hide that, and you need to like fully support it. That's how I feel.
Yeah, like if you haven't read that, Isaiah said that they want black status without black problems.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that can't happen. If you're gonna be with someone that's black and you're white, you're gonna have to understand that there's issues that they deal with, and you'll never understand. And like, but you're gonna have to try to be there for them and their problems and try to protect them through those things. Because I remember one time, me and my baby daddy were driving through his hometown in Virginia, and a cop pulled us over. And the cop came to my side of the door, and he was driving my car, and he was like, "What are y'all doing?" And then he looked at me and he said, "Are you okay?"
Are you okay? I can say that verbatim.
And I'm like, "What do you mean, am I okay?" And he was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "If you're initiating," I was like, "This is my man, this is my boyfriend, this is my car, and yes, I'm fine." I'm like, "Why'd you pull us over?" And I already had his ID in my hand and everything, because like I told him not to move. I said, "You don't move, I'm gonna handle everything." And then I looked and I'm like, "Why'd you pull us over?" I feel like this is harassment. I was like, "You didn't have no reason to pull us over." So I don't know Virginia laws like that because I'm from Tennessee, but I know Tennessee laws. But I'm like still ready to be like, "This ain't right," and you know that ain't right. And like, don't make me pull my camera out and ask for that badge number. And then
Virginia
those are other issues that you got to deal with. Like, and I feel like a lot of white women can't deal with those issues. I feel like they just don't care a lot of times, and like that makes me sad because I've had like some white friends growing up, and it's made me like, I've had black and white friends, but I've had some white friends growing up where I look at them now and I'm like, I can't believe I was ever friends with people like that because there was this one girl and she dated this black man, and I remember he didn't do nothing wrong, but I remember they broke up and she was like, "I want to ruin his life." And like started this whole rape allegation. And like, I just watched this man's like life kind of change from that. And like, I don't know, it made me look at her different because I was like, I don't even want to be around someone like that. And I stopped being her friend. And it's sad to me because a lot of people stereotype a lot of white women like that. And there are a lot of white women that claim that kind of stuff. And it makes me sad because I'm a white woman, so it makes me look like that. And I'm not like that, but no one would ever know that unless they really knew me, you know, or got to know me.
Right. Exactly. But that's one of the pitfalls that happen. It's one of those things, you know, because you can easily, you know, I know you're one of the good ones, but there are some ones out there, like you said, that are shitty. There's shitty people out here. See, the thing is, people forget that there are shitty people out here, and that will actively ruin your life, and they'll believe it because, you know, as a black man, we are characterized as aggressive people.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, but that too though, you got black women out here ruining black man lives too.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It goes both ways. So you know, it's more publicized that a white woman you know, throw out them allegations, but you got these black women out here doing the same thing, you know, false allegations on they got beat up, and just because they know that this is going to tear down the man, and that's the only way they can get to him is to tear up his life as much as possible, even if they do have a child, which they don't care, you know, because they already feel like they the man of the household, so, and they're going to take care of everything anyway, so they're going to tear this man down because that's the only way that they feel like they can hurt him, because he ain't showing the hurt like they show the hurt.
It's a good point, Vic. That's a good point, man, because, you know, we live in a time right now where amongst a lot of women, attention is currency, and they can't handle rejection like a man can. We deal with rejection. You can go through 10 women to get rejected. They go through one man rejecting them, their whole world fall apart. They ready to ruin the whole damn country. You know what I mean? but the reality. But the reality is that it goes back to something Eva said. Instead of focusing on, damn, he fine, she's sexy, get to know who's in front of you. You see what I'm saying? Because the idea and the conditioning through either social media, you know, media programming, whatever the case, upbringing, our environment, music, it's all about, excuse my language, fucking. That's really what it boiled down to. because of physical attraction, and you really don't know who's in front of you until you get on the back end of what you're really dealing with.
Yep.
And then that's when you get into these allegations. You see what I'm saying? I didn't know that this chick was this evil, or this dude can be like this, because I didn't take the time to get to know who was in front of me. And that's what and that's the lack, because it's interesting we're having this conversation, but at the same time the conversation is not being had between each other to the degree whereas I know who's in front of me. And you know what I mean? Instead of basing my attraction off of what I feel about you because you look good and you fine and you're attractive or whatever, what are you really about? What is your character like? You see what I'm saying? And so, you know, it's amazing because we live in a microwavable society. You know what I mean? It's instant quick. It's instant quick. So, you know, it's just one of those things, man, that we got to continue to work on.
And that goes with any race, I guess you could say, like, because when I first started talking to my partner, he's white, obviously. So, however, I didn't really pay much attention to his characteristics. Like, I was just paying attention to the fact that, like, okay, I'm about to date this white guy, like, you know, like, I'm really focused on, like, this is different. I'm really stepping outside of my comfort zone, like, blah, blah, blah. I'm just thinking, like, he's a sweet, nice little white guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get it? Like, I'm not really looking at him, like, a negative way at all, because I'm like, he's just going to be, like, cool or whatever because he's white. And I start getting to know him, I'm like, okay, there is a lot of characteristics that he doesn't have, because I'm not saying it's because he's white or black. However, I'm sitting here, I'm so focused on, it's because he's a person, exactly. And so I'm sitting here, I'm focused on him being white or whatever, and I'm completely looking past the point that this man has literal problems. Like, you know, and so, like, it's just like, no matter who you're with, you just need to, like she said, and like you were saying, like, you just need to pay attention to that person, their race, what they look like, how attractive they are. You need to look at their character, you know. How many dates have you failed to appear at? You know, how many times do your baby mama have before you pull up? Like, that's what.
Can I say this? Bipolar isn't real thing. Depression is a real thing. Schizophrenia is a real thing. Multiple personality disorder is a real thing. You see what I'm saying? And so, just because, like I said, we're looking at the surface, it goes back to your point. You have to know who you're getting involved with, black or white. Because the reality is, it only takes one thing for a person to snap. And God forbid that snap is on you.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, because we don't know the program. When they're in their quarters, or when we're in our quarters, we don't know what's going through each other's mind. And so as a result of that, it's like we got to slow down. Let's take the long ride. And sometimes I'm saying this from experience. It's not easy. You see what I'm saying? Because we all have needs, we have wants, we have desires. You see what I'm saying? And there again, it goes back. You have no control over your attraction. But if you jump the gun before time, you're looking for it's a shipwreck. You see what I'm saying? And it take if a train is going 80 miles an hour and he got 60 carts that's trailing him, you know how long it's going to take before that train stops, before it actually comes to a complete stop? Everything in his way is destroyed. And that's how, and I say all that, that's how some folks' minds are. Get to know who you with. Get to know.
And then before even doing that, know who you are. That way you know what you're looking for, you know what you're not going to deal with, you know what you deserve. You know, you won't fall for the okie doke.
Yep.
So it's important to know who you are as a person first as well.
I feel like that's like number one. I feel like knowing yourself and like self-love, I feel like that should be number one for like everybody.
Yep. Exactly. Like just like what the purpose of with this conversation, you know, we're talking about interracial relationships, because the thing about it is interracial relationships is just another relationship. You know, it's 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 a thing, but now it's starting to not becoming a thing. So people, it's all about just loving yourself and being able to love others and identifying what true love is, and don't isolate yourself with I only have to date this person, I only have to date this type of person. Be open-minded, look outward, look at I always talk about character, just like what Rob says. The big premise of this whole podcast is character, is looking for a person, looking in a person's character, not their outward appearance. Their outward appearance is a factor, but it shouldn't be the factor.
Not the end all be all. It's real.
Yeah, no matter if it's white or black and shit, you still might have the same outcome. So whether it be good or bad, it doesn't matter,
All right. We're gonna end it here. I really appreciate you guys showing up today. My panel, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and please like the video. Please get in these comments. I know y'all sitting back, listening, kicking back, sipping on some good yak. You know what I'm saying? But get involved. Get involved. This is a conversational podcast. Get involved. I'm here. And we ain't going nowhere. You feel me? So but I appreciate my guests for being here. I appreciate you, ladies. Can y'all please tell the audience where can they find you?
Swag Gorgeous on all social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter.
Evie Wonder on all social sites, with a 0, like Stevie Wonder, but Evie Wonder with a 0.
Okay. Raven, where can he find you?
I really just use Instagram, so you can find me on Instagram at Ravy, and that's spelled WAVYRAYV.
Okay.
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at @knizzle_.
Go follow her on TikTok.
Yeah, she's TikTok famous.
She TikTok famous? Oh, okay, yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead and follow her on TikTok. And where can they find you, Rob?
At the real RWP1 on Instagram. That's _RWP1.
Okay.
That I might add. And Instagram. That's where I am. That's where you can find me at.
Okay. Well, if you guys, like I said, if you guys have any ideas for any more topics that y'all want to talk about, want to bring to the conversation, just email us. Link is in the description below. You want to contact us with anything, if you want to come on the show or anything like that, just email us. All right. And on that note, you have been tuning in to Pure Game Podcast. I'm Trey Nomics, and we're out. Peace.
That's what's up.